If there's one thing Paul George loves to do, it's sign a big free agent deal in the middle of the night when everyone is asleep. So I, just like you, probably woke up the next morning to see that Paul George signed with the 76ers. I believe he got a 4-year max deal, which is so much money, just so much money, like an insane amount of money. Which I think to a lot of people when they first heard about this deal was that's a lot to pay for Paul George, who's going to be, 38 in his last year of his deal. He's going to be old, is the point. However, that's what you got to do if you want to contend if you're the Sixers. Because for the past 3-4 years, probably, the Sixers have been like a fringe contender, couldn't really get over the hump of the second round. When you want to contend, is you can't just kind of contend. You got to full send, commit, all money on the table, everything you got. So basically what I'm saying is we're paying an extra $100 million to Paul George for the first 2 years of his contract because that's when the championship window is for the Sixers. And if you're Philly, you want to maximize on that 2-year window. Joel Embiid's in his prime. Paul George is going to squeeze out everything he's got here. And Maxey, rising star, amazing, his first All-Star season last year. We're just going to hope that we can create the perfect storm with Paul George here. Hey! Just want to jump in here and ask you to please like and subscribe if you're enjoying the video so far. It really helps out the channel. It would mean a lot. Thank you. Let's get back to the video. I believe purely from a basketball standpoint, this signing for the Sixers is fantastic. The kind of player that Paul George is. He can play on the ball, he can play off the ball. And in Philly, he would be probably the third option. Which is great for him. He's not Indiana Paul George anymore, but he still has a lot to give. He's a really strong defender, and one of his biggest draws is his catch and shoot ability from three. As a matter of fact, last year, I think he shot the best or one of the best percentages from catch and shoot threes, I think at 45%, which is insane to think about. He's like, okay, Paul George is like way better Tobias Harris. And one way this can really benefit the Sixers, specifically Embiid and Maxey, is that it can take some of the scoring pressure off of those two stars. If you remember before he got hurt, Joel Embiid was playing some of the very best basketball of his career. He was unstoppable, and that was with 2-3 guys on him every single night. So can you imagine the space Joel is going to have to dominate with the threat of a 45% three-point shooter around Joel? That would be crazy beneficial to the Sixers. In addition to Paul George, they also made some really key signings. The most notable ones that come to mind are Andre Drummond at the backup center position and Kelly Oubre Jr., who they brought back after a 1-year deal. Those two signings, maybe even more than the Paul George signing, low-key, no. But maybe a little. I am so happy about, I'm so excited about, because I am a Sixers fan, but the amount of backup center minutes that I've had to watch be played by Amir Johnson, Kyle O'Quinn, B-Ball Paul. No hate to B-Ball Paul. I love B-Ball Paul. I think he's not quite there yet. But if you remember a couple of years ago when Andre Drummond came here the first time, it was like a breath of fresh air. Because Andre Drummond, he's a quality starting center in the league. He didn't have to be a backup here. He totally could have gone and started in some other team, be a perfectly serviceable center. He chose to come back, and that means so much because he's going to be such a help to Joel. Again, help relieve the pressure off Joel. I think on paper, Philly is one of the most talented rosters, and I think I worry a little bit about depth, but I'll get to that in a minute. And if the Sixers are thinking small for their starting five, which I don't know if they are, I'm just spitballing here, but we can go Maxey, Caleb Martin, which also was a great signing. He's a really quality point guard. Then we got Oubre, and then maybe Paul George at the 4? I don't know how I like that. But then we got Embiid at the 5. And if we want to switch things around a little bit, put Caleb Martin at the backup point guard position, we go Maxey, Oubre, or Paul George at the 2 or 3. He and Oubre can kind of interchange positions there. And then, I don't know who we got a power forward. I was actually really sad to see Nick Batum go back to LA. I think he was perfect. He was a nice stretch 4 for us, so we're struggling a little bit in the power forward department at the moment. But if we could find a nice 4 who can shoot the 3 a little bit, I think that'll really help us out to pair with Embiid. Someone I've heard people point out is Dorian Finney-Smith, which I haven't looked into a lot, but I know last season he had an up year shooting the ball, so I hope that's not a fluke, and that's more so an improvement, an upgrade, if you will. Honestly, my favorite part about Sixers free agency 2024 thus far is the fact that Tobias Harris left. I never have to watch him play in a Sixers jersey ever again. That man has been my mortal enemy for 5 years. For 5 seasons, he has been the epitome of mid. Genuinely, every single time that he'd do one of those stupid... God, his shot selection was so bad, I'm getting upset just thinking about it. He'd do that dumb back down. Who is he backing down? Who is he? No one. He had no need to do that. They'd do a little dumb turnaround jumper that would go off the front of the rim. I'm telling you guys, if if hitting the front of the rim gave you points, Tobias Harris would be the all-time leading scorer. I'm not even exaggerating. Point is, he's gone? Okay, but for real, I'm glad he's gone. He was a big, just so mid. I am sad to see Beeple Paul go. Beeple Paul also went to Detroit with Tobias Harris, but I really liked it just for the culture, for the personality, but, you know, we got Adam Bona and Andre Drummond at the backup position. We drafted Bona this year, who's looked really good in the Summer League. Have you guys been watching Summer League? Let me know. Speaking of people who look good in Summer League, Jared McCain. That guy, the way he slashes, his ability to finish around the rim, it reminds me of Maxey. It does. It reminds me of Maxey. I think along with Caleb Martin at the backup guard position, I think Jared McCain will do pretty well. Someone else who looks really good in Summer League, Ricky Council IV. He looks like he bulked up a little bit in Summer League. He looks like he bulked up a little bit, and he scored 29 points in 27 minutes in a Summer League game. Like, he was playing like an NBA player. He was playing like a grown man. He was shooting threes. He was taking it to the rack. He was doing it all. I think he's definitely ready to be a part of the rotation if that's what Nick Nurse decides to do. So I think for our bench, which I'm a little worried about, but the Sixers aren't done making moves, so I'm going to give Daryl Morey some time, of course. But, you know, we got McCain, Drummond, Caleb Martin. I think those are going to be our main three guys at the 6, 7, and 8 slot there. You know, some key losses for the Sixers. We lost Anthony Melton, who was, like, basically dead half of the season, so I didn't exactly miss him for a lot of the time. But, you know, I mean, I liked him. He brought some hustle there. But I think he went to Golden State, and as did Buddy Hield in a sign-in trade, I think. So we lost two relatively important guards there. Buddy Hield definitely brought some shooting off the bench. Other people we let go, in addition to B-Ball Paul, we also let Mo Bamba go, which I'm not too torn up about. Sure, for the memes, you know, Mo Bamba, whatever. But yeah, he was definitely not going to see any time here. We got Embiid, Drummond, and Bona, who we got in the draft. So I'm not too torn up about it. All in all, I think the Sixers team's looking really, really solid coming into this year. I think they're definitely, though not the team to beat, because that is Boston, but I think they can definitely compete with Boston now. The big factors I'm focused on are health, which I think the Paul George signing and the Drummond signing will definitely help keep Embiid healthier. You know, he'll be able to take a rest every now and then and not, like, have the team significantly drop off like they usually do, because we have serviceable backups and other people who could take the load from him and can keep the ship afloat, you know what I mean? I'm really excited to see Maxey progress. I'm excited to see this team play together, and I am just, the Sixers, something about the Sixers, they get me back in. They break my heart, and then they get me roped back in. What do you guys think about the Paul George signing? I would love to hear your thoughts. Let me know in the comments below.